Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Nomos Glashütte Ahoi Neomatik 38 date reference 525. This watch is available from nomosglashütte.com for €4,020. So firstly, let's look at the leather case that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the watch comes in a black genuine leather case, which is housed inside this outer cardboard box. Both the lid and the base to the cardboard box are upholstered to a good standard with contrasting charcoal grey fabric. So one removes the lid, which is a snug fit, and inside the base we have the Nomos Glashütte branded leather case, which I'll show you. So beautiful scent to the genuine grained leather, nice matte sheen to it, and embossed with Nomos Glashütte. There's a leather pull to the zip, so I'll show you the interior. As you can see, the interior is also fully lined with a contrasting charcoal grey genuine leather. Beautiful scent to it, and also in the base we have two leather straps which are secured by stainless steel poppers. So the stainless steel poppers do a good job of securing the leather straps around the watch and prevent it moving around in shipping. In the underside of the lid we have a leather strap which secures these two items, which I'll show you. We have a Nomos Glashütte branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth irrespective of the price point of a piece. And one also gets this cardboard envelope which is Nomos Glashütte branded, and inside it houses the plastic warranty card. So on the front we have the reference number of the piece, and we also have the reference for the movement used, which is the Nomos Glashütte caliber DUW 6101 automatic. There's a QR code on the front and also a QR code on the back. You can scan the QR code with your Android or iPhone. That will activate the 2-year international warranty from the date of purchase, and also download the owner's instruction manual with clear concise diagrams, instructions in English and also German, it's bilingual, detailing the operation of the movement used, which is the Nomos Glashütte caliber DUW 6101 automatic. There's also space on the reverse of the warranty card to stamp it, so the authorised dealer can stamp it, fill in the date of purchase and sign it. I'm pleased to see a 2-year international warranty at this price point because it's a mid-tier piece between €5,000 and €10,000 respectively at €4,020. One also gets some gifts and accessories which I'll show you. Now, the watch box I showed you, housing the genuine leather case, is also gift wrapped in grey paper to a good standard. It's a nice presentation. It would make an ideal gift for a fellow collector. Also good presentation because they wrap the gifts or accessories included with this Nomos Glashütte branded ribbon. So I'll show you the items. One gets this Nomos Glashütte branded notebook which has blank pages, as you can see. And one also gets this handwritten thank you card from Nomos Glashütte which says greetings from Glashütte, and it's signed. And lastly, my favourite item, which is this Nomos Glashütte The Collection book. And this details the entire Nomos Glashütte collection, every single model, every single version of Nomos Glashütte pieces, including the latest releases, the novelties. And very interesting read to see the entire collection. And in the back is my favourite section because it details the in-house calibers. So to clarify, Nomos Glashütte make their watches in-house in Germany, in Glashütte, and they also make their calibers, the movements used in their watches, in-house in Glashütte as well, rather than buying in movements from Sellita and ETA respectively. Now this movement is my personal favourite. It's the movement used in this piece, the Ahoi Neomatik 38 date, reference 525. The caliber DUW 6101 automatic I regard as a masterpiece. It's one of the greatest Nomos calibers ever made. They spent 3 years developing it, and this has high definition pictures of the front and also the reverse of the caliber, as well as it details the specification, the measurements and also the power reserve, 42 hours. So absolutely fantastic read because it shows in high definition the arabesque finishing, pelage finishing, rhodium plating and the gold plating of the engraving and the embossing on the rotors of their movements. So good to read the specifications of each of the in-house calibers, and it's something Nomos Glashütte deserve credit for, not buying in movements from ETA or Sellita. They make their own movements in-house in Glashütte. And lastly, one also gets this box, which on the front says Insight gives perspective, and I'll open it and show you what that means. It says, take a look inside watches by Nomos Glashütte. As seen on film and TV, Glashütte, the art of watchmaking. So, Glashütte is a watchmaking region in Germany, and they've made watches in Glashütte for the last 175 years. So as you can see, this is like a child's toy in the form of a TV set, and on the reverse there's a viewfinder you look through. On the base you press a button which clicks. So when you look through the viewfinder and you press the button on the base which clicks, it advances a slideshow and it shows you high definition images showing 175 years of watchmaking from Glashütte, including Nomos Glashütte's workshop. There's images of their watchmakers working, assembling the calibers and also the watches. So interesting to look through the slideshow, and it's novel having it in the form of a child's toy like a TV set with a button you push and a viewfinder you look through. So with regards to the specifications of the piece, we have a 38.5mm case diameter, we have a 48.7mm lug-to-lug measurement, a thickness of 9.9mm and a lug width of 20mm. The fabric nylon strap is straight and parallel, it does not taper, it's 20mm at the lugs and 20mm at the buckle and tang. Solid 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang, flawless mirror polishing to the top side, underside and flanks, and engraved with high definition engraving with a Nomos text logo. Nice heavy gauge to it, and in terms of finishing, what we're looking at is high tier level finishing. This is the kind of buckle and tang in terms of finishing and quality one would expect to see on a high tier piece costing €10,000 plus, but it's a mid tier piece costing €4,020. Just exceptional finishing, no sharp edges, no burrs, doesn't have sharp corners, it is finished to perfection. We have a double dome sapphire crystal with clear AR coating on the underside, and it's double AR coating. So to clarify, Nomos Glashütte use double AR coating. They have AR coating on the top side and the underside of the double dome sapphire crystal. And as you can see, the benefit of the double AR coating is it reduces the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver mirror polished pencil handset, which, as you can see, the clarity and the legibility is outstanding. This is stellar performance. Some of the best performing double AR coating I have seen on a watch, regardless of the price point. Nice low dome profile to the double dome sapphire crystal rather than a flat sapphire crystal, but this piece is still only incredibly 9.9mm thick, despite using an exhibition case back, 200 meters water resistance and a double dome sapphire crystal. 9.9 really is a credit to Nomos Glashütte's watchmaking and caliber making expertise. The bezel is solid 316L grade stainless steel, flat profile rather than domed, mirror polished to a flawless standard, low profile. The double dome sapphire crystal projects above it and it has a nice bevel around the edge of it which catches the light. Nice large chamfer on the top edge of the flat profile bezel, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The mirror polishing is sublime. The case is solid 316L grade stainless steel and it features the angular lugs as used in the tangent. It's an iconic design element of Nomos Glashütte pieces such as the tangent and also this Ahoi Neomatik 38 date. Angular lugs which are straight, but this doesn't have a very long lug to lug measurement. It is 48.7, which is only 0.7mm above the sweet spot. Sometimes Nomos Glashütte pieces such as the tangent have a very long lug to lug measurement, particularly their larger case pieces, and therefore they're only really suitable for collectors with a large wrist of 7 to 8 inches plus, but this is a compact case. It's only 48.7 despite having the iconic angular lugs. In terms of case polishing, flawless mirror polishing to every facet of the head of the piece, flawless mirror polishing to the bezel, flawless mirror polishing to the exhibition case back. To put this into perspective, what you're looking at here with regards to the mirror polishing is high tier level, €10,000+ price point level mirror polishing. It's equal quality to Grand Seiko Zaratsu mirror polishing, which is some of the best I've ever seen, and I've reviewed over 500 watches on my channel. This really is €10,000+ price point mirror polishing in a mid-tier piece. Mid-tier is €5,000 to €10,000. This is €4,020, but we're looking at €10,000+ finishing. Angular profiles to the lugs, which complement the angular profile to the crown guards, which complements the angular profile to the lugs, and screw down crown. Often Nomos Glashütte pieces have a push-pull crown. This has a screw down crown which provides an effective hermetic seal to 200 meters, and the angular crown guards are Bauhaus design. They're brutalist, but they also do a good job protecting the screw down crown. The screw down crown is solid 316L grade stainless steel, coin edge finished, nice large chamfer which deletes the sharp tips to the teeth, and it's engraved with high definition engraving with a Nomos text logo. So let's test the screw down crown execution. Silky smooth. Perfect interface between the internal thread of the stainless steel screw down crown and the external thread of the stainless steel crown tube. Silky smooth. The threads interface to perfection. The refinement is there. If I had to choose one word to describe it, it would be refinement. No friction whatsoever. It's an example to other mid-tier brands of how to get screw down crown execution correct. Build quality, quality control, tolerances and finishing are exceptional. Minimal number of turns required to unscrew it. Correctly proportioned, it's easy to get good purchase with your index finger and thumb. So when the screw down crown is fully unscrewed, we're now in the manual wind position, and one can manually wind the Nomos caliber DUW6101 automatic, which is an in-house caliber, to its maximum 42-hour power reserve. It feels very smooth, very refined to manually wind. In terms of smoothness, it feels very similar to manually winding the caliber 3135 used in my Rolex Submariner date. That's the level of refinement or the level of smoothness. Doesn't feel rough or gritty, feels noticeably smoother than a Sellita SW200-1 or an ETA 2824-2, which you may be familiar with. It really does feel like a very smooth movement. One can feel the meshing of the gearing is perfection. Very low friction to the 42 dual movements, so it feels very smooth to manually wind, very pleasant. Pulling it out to the first click position is the quick set date complication. Now, I'm going to show you one of my favourite aspects of the caliber DUW6101. It has a quick set date complication, and as you can see, the date window, the date wheel and also the Arabic numerals are oversized. The benefit of them being oversized is they enhance the legibility. This does not need a Cyclops magnifier to magnify the date complication, because you can see just how large the date window and the Arabic numerals are. But that isn't my favourite aspect or my favourite feature. This clicks over with a nice positive click in both directions. It's unique. Often quick set dates only click over to the next day of the week, as you can see, or the next date of the month rather. So when you rotate the crown clockwise, the date clicks over to the next day or the next date. This is bidirectional. It clicks forward and it also clicks in reverse. So the benefit of this is you don't need to cycle through the full 31 days of the month. You can rotate the date complication clockwise and it clicks, and anti-clockwise and it clicks. And it feels exactly the same, both clockwise and anti-clockwise. The quick set complication goes forward and reverse. And this is a unique feature of the Nomos caliber DUW6101. They spent 3 years developing this caliber in-house in Glashütte. It's been in service since 2018, so at this stage in 2025, its reliability has been proven beyond question. But I really like it, and this is something I would like to see other brands do. But they can't. This is the point. Nomos Glashütte are not buying in movements from Sellita and ETA. They are making their own calibers in-house. They are able to do it. The other benefit of this caliber, and again it's unique to Nomos Glashütte, is the date wheel is large and it runs around the circumference of the movement rather than just being fitted to the front of the movement as per the convention for automatics. Now, the benefit of it running around the circumference is they've been able to slim down this movement to an incredible 3.6 millimeters thick. It's one of the thinnest automatic calibers I have reviewed on my channel. 3.6 is the kind of thickness one expects with a manual wind mechanical movement or a quartz powered movement, not an automatic with a rotor. But you can see the benefit. Clockwise and anti-clockwise, the quick set complication clicks over. It has a nice light click, so it feels very similar to an SW200-1 or an ETA 2824-2. It has the same clicking sensation, but of course we have the benefit of it going forward and reverse. Fantastic feature, technically excellent. Pulling it out to second click position hacks the movement. If you look at the contrasting red second hand on the subdial, you can see it's now stopped dead, so therefore it's possible to set the time precisely to the second with a caliber DUW6101. Nice medium resistance to it. Doesn't feel too light or too heavy. Feels very smooth clockwise and anti-clockwise. You can feel the gearing. The meshing of the gearing is perfection personified. The refinement is there. Build quality, quality control, machining and tolerances are all stellar on this movement. Minimal backplay. When you rotate the coin edge crown clockwise and anti-clockwise, there's an almost immediate response. Feels nice and tight. And I like the feeling of the gearing not having friction, but you can feel the meshing of the teeth is very refined because you don't have any slack. It feels like a very tight movement. So I'm absolutely confident on the reliability, the durability and the accuracy of it long term. Very pleasant to set the time. Pushing it back in, it's got a real nice positive heavy click, and that restarts the movement. If you look at the contrasting red second hand on the 6 o'clock subdial, you can see it begins to sweep around at the characteristic 3 Hz sweep. Let's test pushing the crown back down. Instant thread pickup. There's a perfect interface between the internal thread of the stainless steel crown and the external thread of the stainless steel crown tube. Silky smooth. Refinement is stellar. This is just exceptional. To put the smoothness into perspective, it's every bit as smooth as the triplock crown used on my Rolex Submariner date. And again, what we're looking at here in terms of screw down crown execution, this is 10,000 plus euro price point screw down crown execution on a mid-tier piece at the 4,020 euro price point. Fantastic, they could not improve upon it. Silky smooth. Right, so I'll show you the case back because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. Screw down exhibition case back, glazed with sapphire crystal. Now I want to give due credit to Nomos Glashütte here because strictly speaking, a screw down exhibition case back does not need to be glazed with sapphire crystal. They could have used the production cost cutting measure of glazing it with mineral crystal in order to maximise profit margin per piece. But they didn't do that. They used sapphire crystal in the front, sapphire crystal in the back. This screw down exhibition case back is one of the lowest profile 200 metre water resistant case backs I have ever seen. They've used flathead screws rather than making a screw down case back. So to clarify, the stainless steel portion does not screw down with a thread to the head of the piece, which is the convention for dive pieces. They've used 6 flathead screws. Now the benefit of using these screws is they've been able to reduce the thickness of the stainless steel portion thinner. They've also reduced the thickness of the sapphire crystal. It is thick enough to withstand 200 metres of pressure. So very strong specification, 200 metres, but it's very low profile. This is not a bubble back case back. Just look how flat that is. This is how flat I would expect a mechanical manual wind movement or quartz powered piece to have. The exhibition case back is so flat. The sapphire crystal glazing is large diameter, so it does an excellent job of displaying the movement, but the other benefit is because it's large diameter, it's perfectly flat and smooth. So when you're wearing this against the wrist for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day, the flat sapphire crystal feels very smooth and very comfortable, unlike a solid stainless steel case back which has embossing or engraving, which might feel rough or scratchy. It's perfectly smooth and flat, but just look how flat it is. Just incredible. It's one of the thinnest 200 metre exhibition case backs I've ever seen. This is something that Nomos Glashütte can do, but other mid-tier brands cannot do. They are not capable of making an exhibition case back with 200 metres water resistance so thin. Minimal clearance. Just look how thin the skeletonized rotor is and how close the rotor runs to the underside of the flat exhibition case back. The sapphire crystal glazing. It looks invisible. The benefit is, when you look at the movement, it looks like the sapphire crystal glazing is invisible and you're looking directly at the movement because the clearance is so minimal. Fantastic. It's technically excellent. It's one of the best screwed down exhibition case backs I've ever seen. So I just think it does a fantastic job of displaying the movement. As you can see, it's beautifully decorated. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, this nylon fabric strap is very soft and supple. It doesn't feel rough. But however, the negative is it's a fraction too short for my 8-inch wrist. I could just engage the end of the strap in the other side of the stainless steel buckle, but it's just half an inch short to fit the nylon keeper, which is fixed. So for comfort, this would need to be half an inch or 1 inch longer, but I'm not going to be critical because for the majority of collectors with a 6 to 7 inch wrist or even a 7.5 inch wrist, this nylon fabric strap will suffice. The majority of collectors have a 7 inch to 7.5 inch wrist. This will suffice. But however, it's something to bear in mind if you have a larger wrist of 8 inches plus, you're going to need a longer strap. Comfort level is good. It's very soft and supple. The fabric feels nice and thin. It flexes and articulates well. It doesn't feel rough and it feels very comfortable to wear. Navy blue tone to it complements the silver white dial and also the blue tone of the loom on the pencil hands and the contrasting red second hand. So legibility is stellar due to the double AR coating. We have AR coating on the underside and the top side. 38mm does give surprising wrist presence. It does wear more like a 39. It's 38.5, but visually, due to the angular crown guards, it wears more like a 39 or a 40. Usually Nomos pieces have long angular lugs, such as their tangent pieces, and often that's a negative because they create this large gap beneath the tips of the angular lugs on the tangent models, but this Ahoi Neomatik 38 date has a more compact lug-to-lug measurement, so they've refined it. This is only 48.7, so it's only 0.7mm above the 48mm sweet spot I often refer to. 48 lug-to-lug is the perfect lug-to-lug because it fits collectors regardless of whether you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist or a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. So at 48.7 it's only 0.7 above the sweet spot. This will fit you if you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist, and it will also fit you if you have a larger 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. 48.7 really covers all wrist sizes. So 38.5 diameter does give wrist presence. The thing I like about this piece above all else is how thin it is. This is only 9.9, which is incredible. Just think about that for a moment. This is an automatic. It's not a quartz and it's not a mechanical manual wind movement piece. This is an automatic with a rotor, and of course that does add some thickness usually. Has a double dome sapphire crystal rather than a flat sapphire crystal. Again, that adds some thickness. Has an exhibition case back with 200 meters, not a solid stainless steel case back with 50 or 100 meters. Again, that adds thickness. But above all else, this is still only 9.9. It's a very thin piece. This is one of the thinnest pieces with 200 meters of water resistance, a double domed crystal and exhibition case back I have reviewed on my channel. It's a credit to Nomos, just how thin they can make their calibers and how thin they can make their watches. So the benefit of this being powered by the caliber DUW6101 is it's a very thin automatic caliber. It's only 3.6 millimeters, and they've been able to slim down this piece down to only 9.9. Feels weightless on wrist. The other thing I really like about it is the lack of heft. It's only 59 grams on this nylon fabric strap. 59 grams means it's comfortable to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. So even if you have a smaller wrist of 6 to 7 inches, you'll enjoy the wrist presence of 38.5, but you'll also enjoy the lack of heft because it's only 59. Anything below 150 grams on a stainless steel bracelet is comfortable. Anything below 100 grams on a strap, regardless of whether it's a rubber strap, leather strap or nylon strap, that is comfortable. This is well below 100 grams on a strap. It's 59 grams. 59 is one of the lightest pieces I've reviewed in a 38.5mm head of the piece. It's exceptional. So it's a very lightweight piece, very comfortable piece. Feel good factor is fantastic. Comfort level is fantastic. Also visually looks good and feels good. Legibility is excellent, and it's got pure Bauhaus design to it. Fantastic. Really comfortable to wear, and also the benefit of the sapphire crystal glazing, as I've detailed, is the large portion of it. The diameter is large, so it's very smooth and comfortable against the wrist. Right, so let's do a loom test, and we'll see how the loom performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So this uses C3 superluminova on the pencil hands and also the squares on the indices at the hour marks. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to the absolute peak. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. We're clearly looking at 5 to 6 layers of C3 superluminova. Just bear with me and I'll get the camera to autofocus on it. So the exciter is potent, both on the square printed indices, as you can see, and also the pencil handset. Now, one has to appreciate the pencil hands are not like Mercedes hands, or alternatively snowflake hands used on dive pieces. They don't allow for a large plot or a large area of 5 to 6 layers of C3 superluminova to be applied. But nonetheless, Nomos Glashütte deserve credit because they haven't used the cost-cutting measure of 2 to 3 layers or 3 to 4 layers on the dial and hands. This is clearly 5 to 6 layers on both the indices and also the hands. The other thing we need to appreciate is this is a Bauhaus dial design with Bauhaus Arabic numerals rather than applied indices. Had they used applied indices, of course, there's a larger plot and a larger depth in the indices to apply 6 layers of C3, but this simply has printed squares on the dial, and therefore it's difficult to get the depth of 6 layers printed to the dial, but they've done it, as you can see. The exciter is potent. Just bear with me, I'll get the camera to focus. So perfect colour tone match. Now in daylight, the hands look blue, rather like BGW9, but you can clearly see that the hands are not BGW9. This is something I haven't seen on watches before, and I want to give due credit to Nomos Glashütte because in daylight the hands do look blue, and they contrast very well with the silver white dial because one would expect them to glow blue in the dark. I thought they were going to be BGW9, but you can see even though the handset looks blue in daylight rather than white, they actually glow green in the dark, so they're clearly using C3 on the dial and C3 superluminova on the handset. One can easily differentiate between the shorter pencil hour hand and the longer pencil minute hand, so the legibility is good. And for a daily wear piece, I think this is excellent performance. And bear in mind, it doesn't have applied indices and it doesn't have large handsets. The pencil hands are like baton hands. They're very slender because it's a Bauhaus piece. So excellent performance and clearly 5 to 6 layers. Right, so let's discuss the movement use because it's my favourite aspect of the piece. So as I've detailed, this is powered by the Nomos caliber DUW6101 Automatic, which is an in-house caliber made in Glashütte by Nomos themselves. Nomos Glashütte do not buy in movements from ETA and Sellita. They make their own calibers in-house. They spent 3 years developing this caliber and it's been in service since 2018, so at this stage in 2025 it's a reliable, well-proven, excellent caliber. I regard this as a masterpiece. It's one of the greatest Nomos Glashütte calibers ever made. It's technically excellent. Has 42 joules. It runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. It has hand winding and hacking, which is used for complications, and a quick set date complication. And as I've detailed, a unique feature and my favourite aspect of the date complication is it works in both forward and reverse. It doesn't click over just to the next day of the month. You can reverse it to the previous day of the month and advance it to the next day of the month. So it clicks both forwards and backwards in forward and reverse. Technically excellent. The other thing that's technically excellent and it helps reduce the thickness of it is they've enlarged the date wheel, and the date wheel runs around the circumference of the movement rather than just being fitted to the front of the movement, which is the convention for automatics. So the benefit of the date wheel running around the circumference is they have reduced the thickness of the bridges of the movement. This movement is one of the thinnest automatic calibers I have ever seen. I've reviewed over 500 watches on my channel, and I can tell you this is one of the thinnest calibers used in all those watches. 3.6 millimeters thick is exceptional. 3.6 millimeters is the kind of thickness I would expect with a mechanical manual wind movement or a quartz movement, not an automatic with a rotor, because adding a rotor obviously adds thickness. 3.6 would be nothing unusual for a manual wind mechanical movement, but for an automatic it is exceptional. It's stellar. So that's the reason why I say this is one of the greatest Nomos Glashütte calibers ever made. They spent 3 years developing it to perfect it. 3.6 is incredible. They deserve full credit for that. And of course the benefit of it being 3.6 is they've reduced the thickness of this piece down to only 9.9. Again, 9.9 millimeters would be nothing unusual, nothing exceptional if this were quartz powered or mechanical manual wind powered, but it's not. It's automatic with a 42-hour power reserve. Even though it has a double dome sapphire crystal rather than flat sapphire crystal, even though it has an exhibition case back rather than a solid stainless steel case back, these things add thickness. It's 200 meters, it's not 50 or 100. So of course, because it's 200 meters, it needs a thicker sapphire crystal in the front and a thicker sapphire crystal in the back to withstand the 200 meters of pressure. Despite all that, it is still only 9.9, below 10 millimeters thick, one of the thinnest daily wear pieces I have reviewed on my channel. To get an automatic, which is only 9.9, is incredible, and Nomos Glashütte deserve full credit, because we're not looking at a 10,000 plus price point piece in the high tier. This is a mid-tier piece that is only 9.9 with a 3.6mm in-house caliber. It's just stellar. So as you can see, the movement is beautifully decorated. So these stripes on the main plate are rhodium plated and they are referred to as Glashütte ribbing. Now you can see the Glashütte ribbing or the milled stripes look like Côtes du Genève or Geneva stripes used on Swiss calibers. The quality of the finishing to the movement in terms of the bridges with the Glashütte ribbing is just stellar. I love the way the ribbing catches the light. The rotor is skeletonized and finished to perfection. It's engraved with high definition engraving and the engraving is inlaid with gold plating. Also, the engraving on the rotor, it's on the main plate of the movement itself, is also infilled with gold plating. Blued screws also add to the decoration, and we've also got pelage finishing. The definition of the pelage finishing is just incredible. It's sharp, it's crisp, and it's just absolutely gorgeous to look at. So they deserve credit. They've made the correct decision by using an exhibition case back to display the caliber, because it's an absolute delight to look at. When you take the piece off the wrist and look at the DUW6101, the ribbing on the main plate, the pelage finishing, the gold plating to the engraving and the embossing to the rotor. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the best looking movements I've seen, but also in terms of finishing, it's high tier level finishing. So to clarify, if this were a Swiss made piece, with this level of finishing and this grade of movement, I would expect this to be €10,000+ price point. It's made in Germany and the caliber is made in-house in Glashütte as well. But it's not €10,000+. It is €4,020. The movement fully justifies the price point of the piece. So rhodium plated movement and also gold plated engraving. It's regulated in 6 positions. So to clarify, top grade and chronometer grade movements are usually regulated in 5 positions. Nomos Glashütte go one better. This is regulated in 6, which is the ultimate. It's regulated to chronometer accuracy, which is -4 to +6. This one is running consistently at 0 seconds per day, plus or minus 0 seconds. Just think about that for a moment. It's well within the -4 to +6 chronometer grade. 0 seconds per day. Perfect accuracy when it's fully wound to its maximum 42 hours. It's accurate. It's very thin at 3.6 millimeters. Bidirectional rotor, so it's efficient in its winding. The finishing is stellar. Technically, it's a masterpiece. And I like everything about it. The hand winding hacking works well, feels good to set the time, feels very smooth to manually wind, very thin at 3.6, and above all else, what I like about it is the quick set date complication. Working in forward and reverse, I'll just show you one more time. This is unusual. It's something that Nomos Glashütte are capable of doing, but if you put this into perspective, Rolex, Tudor, Omega, they're not capable of doing it. If you look at the date complication, it clicks over to the next date of the month, but also in reverse. It clicks back to the previous date of the month. Forward and reverse, they feel exactly the same clicking sensation. You don't need to cycle through the 31 days of the month. Forward and reverse works exactly the same. The other thing I want to make you aware of is, which is unique to the caliber DUW 6101, this has a very quick date changeover. Often it can take up to an hour for an automatic to change over to the next day of the month. When the hour gets to 12 o'clock at midnight, for example, it can take an hour for the date to gradually move over to the next date. This has a 30-minute date changeover. So it advances when the hour hand gets to midnight or 12 o'clock. It advances to the next day of the month within 30 minutes. It's a very quick date changeover. So not only is it bidirectional, forward and reverse, it also has a very quick changeover within 30 minutes. Exceptional. Something that Rolex cannot do, something that Nomos Glashütte are able to do. So really it's a high tier level movement, €10,000+ price point movement in a mid-tier piece costing €4,020. So last I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. This is a stellar piece. The movement alone fully justifies the price point. I actually think Nomos Glashütte have undervalued this piece at €4,020. The movement is €10,000+ level, as I've detailed, but this is a mid-tier piece. So to clarify, mid-tier is €5,000 to €10,000 price point, high tier is €10,000+ price point. So what you're getting here is a high tier level piece. The movement is high tier level, the finishing is high tier level, but it's a mid-tier piece at €4,020. I'm going to declare it excellent quality and I'm going to declare it excellent value at €4,020. I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. This is a stellar piece. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Nomos Glashütte Ahoi Neomatik 38 date reference 525. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you for watching.